How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I know a bunch of you have been asking me about absinthe for some time. We got a treat for you today. Yeah? We're at Derelict Air Ship. Thank you, Bearded and Board, for setting this up. I know you guys want to see me running the still, and I promise you, it is running again with some workarounds. It's just going to take me a little while to get that footage through to being ready for you. So in the meantime, let's have a talk about absinthe. I will be honest, guys, I have not had a whole lot to do with absinthe in any way, shape or form, but if it is something that you're into and you want to see me follow this through and end up making our own absinthe, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment down below, tell me what you like, what recipe you use, and we'll see if we can make it happen. As you can see from some of these images, Derelict Air Ship is essentially a overgrown home distilling setup, a tiny little true craft operation. There's a video from Bearded and Board where you can see more of that. I'd encourage you to go click on that now. In the meantime, let's find out a little bit more about the drink itself.
It's a pretty traditional recipe. Our distiller is a microbiologist with a super taster palate, and he started with a 1 liter desktop still, like laboratory equipment. The medicine cabinet and the liquor cabinet were the same thing until about the 1940s, and every herb that's in absinthe either is or was considered medicinal. Wow. So that one of the reasons that it became the most popular drink on the European continent and beyond for about 150 years was that in the 1830s, the soldiers being sent off to the colonial wars in North Africa were rationed a dram of absinthe. They didn't know about their water sources, and so the high proof alcohol and the medicinal herbs were thought to fend off things like dysentery and whatnot. So they came back to, France, decorated veterans, and it's like, oh my good man, thank you for your service. Can I buy you a drink? I'll have an absinthe. And it just exploded in Paris and became what we now call happy hour. Was originally called the green hour because it was the time when everyone would go and have an absinthe. There are actually more than green absinthes, but it's sort of the most famous kind. We actually just released our white absinthe a couple of weeks ago. So, if you're going to make an absinthe in this sort of traditional way, you would do a grape spirit, or you take wine and run it through the still. Once you've sort of had a look around, you might notice that we don't even have a mop drain in the floor. So going from a fermented product to a distilled product yields about 90% waste. Yeah, and we don't really have the capacity for that. And it turns out that in California, they have a lot of wine that doesn't go into bottles, and they sell it off to somebody who's going to run it through their stills. So we are buying a 55-gallon drum of a grape neutral spirit. That's actually one of the things that's distinct about our product, is that it's a grape spirit, not a grain. Right. And which is one of the reasons that it's so expensive. And so we take that and we put it into one of these steel tanks here with a giant tea bag. And of course, none of my tea bags are out right now because we've cleaned up after our last batch. Right. But giant tea bags full of herbs. And it goes in here. This is gnarly stuff. This is like, it might smell good. I don't know if you want to smell it. Most people, when they smell it, say it smells pretty good. But if you were to put this on your palate, you wouldn't be able to taste anything for like a day or so. I mean, it's
there's something in there that reminds me of some of those like herbal medicines that you can. So but to a much stronger degree.
We take this and we pump it into the still, right? And once it's come out here, it's a clear liquid, and all of the funky, super bitter stuff, is left in the kettle of the still. Nice. I haven't cleaned it since. Oh no, we haven't cleaned it since the last one. So you can get some.
Oh, I can see.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Smell.
Sure. So.
It's like a tar.
Yeah, it's super.
Yeah.
Wow, that is concentrated.
Yeah,
Let me get a
it's
sip of that.
really nasty.
Wow. That's like hop oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the theory about the psychotropic effects of absinthe with wormwood?
Yes. So this is the perfect time to talk about it, right? So the thujone is what's banned in the United States and caused absinthe to not be sold for 95 years. They eventually, an enterprising scientist and absintheur decided to like go and prove with mass spec analysis that there was never any meaningful amount of thujone in any absinthe made pre-ban or modern. And so thujone is a compound that's found in the wormwood plant. There's actually more of it in sage than there is in wormwood. Sage is not regulated as an ingredient in alcoholic beverages.
But sage is good.
Yeah.
And wormwood is evil.
The thing about like it making you see things or whatever, that was a myth of the 1990s. Because after it had been banned for a really long time, one of the ways that people got people to drink the stuff that they were sort of putting the word absinthe on the bottle and having it be just like a high proof alcohol with maybe some anise oil in it and some green food coloring.
Right.
They needed theater and drama in order to sell it because it tasted horrible.
The hype.
They needed the hype, exactly.
The hype.
That is crazy.
But like, you know, for like 150 years, people were drinking absinthe, you know, at 5 o'clock every afternoon, you know, in Paris and London and New York and all the way, you know, everyone drank it.
Yeah.
Nobody was tripping balls. And if we stopped there and bottled it at 110 proof, that would be our white absinthe. We would call it opal absinthe. And if we are going to make the green absinthe, we're going to do another round of herbs. So the first round is 60 pounds of herbs for every 55 gallons, right? It's a blend of 9 herbs and spices. That's what's in our opal absinthe. Once it comes off the still and we put it back in with another 20 pounds, it gets its green from the chlorophyll in that round of herbs and a few extra flavors and a little more oil. It needs to be bottled at 140 proof in order for that to remain a clear liquid in the bottle.
Before we get on to tasting the absinthe,
Yes.
which I am thoroughly looking forward to, can you describe the process of preparing absinthe for drinking?
Preparing absinthe for drinking, absolutely. So the best way to have absinthe is whatever way you like it, but the basic thing.
Okay, your drink the way you want it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is high proof because all those oils from all those herbs are in solution in high proof, and when you add water, it releases them. So that's what sort of opens the bouquet, right? So you saw it go from. Yeah, please, yes.
100% opaque, yeah.
Yeah, from clear to cloudy. So that's and it's a very like viscous mouthfeel because all those oils are released and then they can kind of coat your palate. So the water will like do that whether you just sort of pour it in the glass or not, but it's so much more pleasant to sit at a table with your friends and have a tower with a slow drip, or even just having like a carafe where you can slowly pour yourself by hand.
It becomes an event, it's not just a drink. It's a ceremony.
Exactly.
And some people take it way to the extreme,
sure,
right? It's crazy.
You can add sugar. I don't.
Mascot.
Yes, I mean, so the sugar cube and the slotted spoon are an addition to that process. Before the sugar cube was invented, people just they had these carafes with like a little spigot, and so you could pour a steady stream of, thin stream of the water into your absinthe glass, and so the person serving you would pour it into your glass in front of you so you could watch that transformation in the glass. But then we graduated to a little more elaborate accoutrement. The tower with the slow drip is just a nice way to sit and watch those drips fall into the glass and watch those oils swirl as it looshes the glass soap. But it's still basically just add water. There are some absinthes that you might prefer to have sugar with them because maybe they're a little more on the bitter side or something.
Right.
But mint and we have mint in the green absinthe. The anise is 50 times sweeter than sugar. So like the sweetness comes from the herbs really more than anything else. The sugar cube was a modern marvel when it was invented in 1847.
And everyone wanted to use it for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
so
microwave dinners.
Right. So people were like really fascinated by this, and it was a way to sort of elevate the sort of bourgeois elegance of the experience.
Make it fancy.
Super fancy. Oh, you fancy. But yeah, for me, I'm a just add water girl, and sometimes I like to add fizzy water.
Oh, I can see that.
Flat
just
water.
to really pop the botanicals in the aroma.
Exactly.
Right.
But as it is, just pouring water into it.
All right, so I think it's time to get to tasting. And I think there's 2 glasses here. I think we need to get bearded in here.
Please.
We're gonna kick you out. I'm sorry.
All right.
It's not that we don't love you. You're even taller than me. I need to screw up the system, dude. We've been sharing bodily fluids all. Enough of that. Whoa, I love this.
It's amazing.
So, we had a little talk beforehand about black licorice flavor and how it is kind of a love it or hate it, acquired taste thing.
Yeah, like jelly beans, licorice jelly beans, licorice candy. I can't stand it. I hate it. That's the part that's going to go in the trash.
So do I.
But Jesse, last time he was here, he brought some licorice candy that they make in New Zealand, and it had the consistency of like a Fig Newton with chocolate. It was really interesting, and the flavor was so much more well developed and not just a chemical additive. That's what I'm getting from this. It's so, there's again, I hate to keep using the same term, it's so many layers to this.
So I don't know what you're getting over there, dude, but
Hi.
there is definitely that anise, licorice root?
There is no licorice root.
Okay.
There's star anise and aniseed.
Okay, so star anise and aniseed, and you get that almost stevia-like lingering sweetness, sweetness but not sweetness.
Sweetness but not sugar.
And like I always, a small caveat with the, step into frame, my friend. Oh, sorry. Like I always say with stevia, stevia is nasty, but it doesn't taste like sugar.
Right.
This is not nasty.
This is,
but it doesn't taste, it's not like sugar. It's that same weird, it's sweet but not sweet.
It's, your brain is telling your tongue is telling your brain that you're tasting sugar, but you're not. But it's not that letdown that you get from stevia.
Yeah.
I think it's the alcohol. It really helps.
So, yeah, I think I'd be quite interested to try this at a higher proof. But at this proof, I don't know what you're getting, but this is just like, it's almost like there's no alcohol in there at all. It's just, it's...
Did you taste it yet?
Yeah. I'm all over it. I didn't wait for you. No. Cheers anyway, though. I guess.
It's crazy smooth.
It's delicious, yeah.
Yeah, that creamy mouthfeel.
You want to trade? All right, I need some water. I got some. Here's some I prepared earlier.
No, I'm a low rent taster. I don't do that.
Well, and what you're tasting, right? So you just tasted the opal absinthe.
Right.
That is the green absinthe before we turn it green.
Right. So the herbal quality of this one hits you in the nose a little bit faster.
Oh wow, yeah. They're very similar, but
yeah, like
this is slightly more in the earthy.
The sharper notes are really up front on the nose.
Yeah, the green absinthe, the emerald, has peppermint that I grew in my garden, and like some.
That is why I love craft spirits.
Yeah.
Because it's literally your craft. It's stuff from the local environment. Support your local craft distillers.
Yeah. And then with the opal, we didn't use some of those sort of like, I as a musician, I think of things in terms of notes.
Yeah.
So not some of those like high note flavors, those bright flavors that are on the top of the emerald absinthe. It's a little more wormwood forward, so that's that earthiness. Yeah. It's a very like woody, like once you get all those like super extra bitter flavors out of it and leave those behind in the kettle of the still, you're just getting those earthy, like woody flavors.
Yeah. So, since I've been in Texas, I've drunk an ungodly amount of whiskey. And compared that, and I'm going to use that as a comparison because that's what I've been drinking a lot of. Yeah. When you sip on a whiskey, the first thing that happens when it goes into your mouth is there's an explosion of something. Either you get hit with proof and some heat, you get hit with the initial flavors that come in like a truck, especially on bourbon. Yeah. This is the opposite. Yeah. You put it into your mouth and you're like, oh, this is water. Just for a second.
Especially with the consistency of it, because the water, you know, it brings up the density of it, so it's not flying down your throat like a spirit, and it gives it a little bit of, I know you hate the term smoothness, but it gives it a texture of smoothness more than
Like
and a straight spirit.
like soft water.
Softness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Viscosity.
Yeah. And then the flavors just slowly ramp up, right? Mm-hmm. Like you start to get a hint of the anise.
Yeah, I'm still tasting some of that, even though I've had some of the green.
Let me go looking for that peppermint.
It's a peppermint grown in a very hot backyard garden, so it's a little more stank on it than like a peppermint you would get from the store.
Oh, okay. Almost like if you walked past the peppermint with this, like when it's in a hot day.
Yeah,
it's that. It's
like more pepper than mint.
Right. Yeah. I gotta say I like this one more. Yeah. Just because it's stronger and more bold.
Yeah, I think I do too. But I don't know.
Come over here. You keep walking out of frame.
Well, I'm so large.
Professionals.
I'm so large.
It's probably because I keep crowding you out.
Masculine.
I do think
a lot of room.
If I started to drink more absinthe, because it's been a while since I've had absinthe. Right now, the bolder, bigger flavors are easier for me to compute. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I do feel like I would potentially move towards the opal a lot quicker, especially if you wanted to just relax and enjoy it without thinking about it, if that makes sense.
I think for me, I'd want this, I would go with a little less water for me, just so that the proof is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But I really like everything that's going on. This one, it's got so much more of the sharp herbs.
Yeah.
That I like them both.
There's the white.
Okay, we'll do this next to each other. All right, so just for science, we've got it neat, and then we've got it at about 1:1. So this is 110. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. 55%, and then this is half of that, so 27.5 or whatever that works out to be. And interestingly enough, we were just saying off camera, I think this is actually a spirit I prefer to drink at not at spirit levels, because I think exactly like was just told to me, there's so many flavors crammed in together that you really need to pry them apart a little bit to actually be able to taste what's going on. That makes sense.
Do it!
Oh yeah, okay, so that's much more like ouzo, funnily enough. Mm-hmm. But you lose all the subtlety. You can't taste anything that's going on.
Right.
So a huge thank you to Bearded and Board for setting this up, watch his video. Thank you to Jessica at Derelict Air Ship for having us and letting us try their drinks. And a huge thank you to the Patreons for making this happen. I can't do this stuff without you guys. I'll catch you next time. Have an awesome week. Like the video, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Till next week, guys. See ya.